Read.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الفصل الأول. عن أبي أيوب الأنصاري رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إذا آتيتم الغائط فلا تستقبلوا القبلة ولا تستدبروها ولكن شرقوا أو غربوا. متفق عليه. قال شيخ الإمام مفتي السنة رحمه الله: هذا الحديث في الصحراء وأما في وأما في البنيان فلا بأس. رواية
عن عبد الله بن عمر.
عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: في بقيت فوق بيتي أبصد في بعض حاجتي
فرأيته
فرأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقضي حاجته مستقبل القبلة ومستقبل الشام.
مستدبر القبلة مستقبل الشام. Now Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu says, Nabi Karim says, when you go to the toilet, then do not face the Qibla, neither face your back to the Qibla, ever face east or west. Sheikh Imam Muhis Sunnah, the disciple of Mishkat, of the Sahib of the Matan of Mishkat, says this hadith is in the desert, in the open areas, as of amongst the buildings, and there's no harm because of not what is narrated from Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu. Says that I ascended above the house of Hafsa for some of my needs, and I saw Nabi Akram fulfilling his need, facing the Qibla, facing his back to the Qibla and facing Sham. Right. So there's ikhtilaf in this masla here. You understand? Firstly, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik rahmatullahi says, istiqbal of Qibla and istidbar of Qibla in the built up areas is jaiz mutlaqan, right? And in the open area and in the desert, it is not permissible mutlaqan, right? Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahmatullah alayhi says that istidbar of Qibla, whether you in the open area or in the built up area, both are jaiz. But istiqbal of Qibla, facing the Qibla, whether you in the open area or in the desert, both are not permissible. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi and Sufyan Sawri and Jamul Sahaba, Jamul Fuqaha, they say whether you in the desert or whether you in the open area, you cannot face the Qibla, neither your face, neither your back towards the Qibla. Right. So the dalil of Imam Shafi rahmatullahi was this hadith here of Ibn Umar. He ascended the house of his sister Hafsa radiallahu anha, and he saw, right? And the other dalil is Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha was it was mentioned that by her that Nabi Akram used to dislike that they must face their farj towards the Qibla. So she said, I think they did it on their own. You can face the Qibla. You understand it? Face my toilet towards the Qibla. She put that out. So she was confident there, right? And then the third dalil is another hadith that from Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, he says that in the open area, istiqbal is not permissible, but when there's an obstacle in between, there is no harm. Right. And then another hadith of Hazrat Jabir radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah an nastaqbil al-qiblata bi bawlin. Rasulullah prohibited that we face the Qibla when urinating. Fara'aytu qabla ay yuqbada bi amin yastaqbilu. And I saw him before he passed away by 1 year, he was facing the Qibla, right? Now, what is the dalil of Ahnaf and, as we say, Jamhur Sahaba, Jamhur Fuqaha? Nahana Rasulullah an nastaqbil al-qiblata li gha'itin aw bawlin, right? Rasulullah prohibited to face the Qibla whether making number 1 or number 2, right? إذا أتيتم الغائط فلا تستقبلوا القبلة ولا تستدبروها لا يبولن أحدكم مستقبل القبلة. So these are all Ahnaf dalils, right? Now, obviously, now then Ahnaf will give their reasons why their dalil is stronger. So firstly, Ahnaf says that their dalil is qawli. In other words, it's clear directions. Whereas the other dalils are fairly dalils, like he ascended the house of Hazrat, of his sister, you understand? And he saw why does a qawli dalil have preference here? Because a fairly dalil has got possibilities. And in this case, the possibility is that either that is the khususiyat of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the speciality of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he was allowed. And this possibility is quite strong. The reason being is that Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's body was pak, right? And even his fudalat is also pak that come out, right? So therefore, he would be allowed to face the Qibla, right? But that won't apply to others, right? And then the other point here also is mentioned is that Hazrat Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, obviously now he went there for Assam. Suddenly he saw Nabi Akram Sam, and now obviously he saw him fulfilling his need. Now there's not a place where you go and look properly. Somebody's busy in the toilet, you go in and look which way he's facing. So he could have made a mistake there also with the direction, right? The second reason of tarjih for Ahnaf is that Ahnaf's dalil shows hurmat, and the other dalil show permissibility. And when there's a clash between hurmat and permissibility, you give preference to hurmat, right? Then then the other point I mentioned, it is possible that he could have made a mistake in when he looked. You understand it? Right. Sharriku or gharribu, either face east or face west. This ruling will be for the people of Medina. So each area must now look at their own which way is the Qibla. It's not always east and west to avoid the Qibla. You understand it? Right.
عن سلمان رضي الله عنه قال كان يعني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نستقبل القبلة بغير الأذن أو نستنجي باليمين أو نستنجي بأقل من 3 أحجار أو نستنجي برجيء من الإذن.
Then was Salman said Nabi Akram forbade us that we face the Qibla when doing number 2 or number 1, or that we make istinja with the right hand, or we make istinja with less than 3 stones, or we make istinja with dung or with bone. Right. So because of this hadith here now, and maybe similar hadiths, some Shawafi and Ahli Zawair, they say if you make istinja with the right hand, then you are not clean. Even if you clean, you are not clean. Jamhur say no. The istinja with the right hand is because of the honor that's given to the right hand, and therefore you use your right hand for all good things, and then use your left hand to do all the dirty work. So therefore, istinja with the right hand is makruh, and nevertheless, if you did clean yourself with the right hand, you do become clean. Cleanliness is achieved, right? And then the reason also being is that a person now makes istinja with the right hand, and then after that he goes to eat with the right hand. That smell, you understand? So that is also not pleasant, right? Then to make istinja with less than 3 stones, right? So here there's 3 things they say. First thing is cleansing the place. Second thing is using 3 stones. And the third thing here is that to use the stones in odd numbers. So I use 3, 5, 7. You understand? Imam Shafi rahmatullah, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahmatullah, they say using 3 stones is wajib, and using odd numbers is wajib, and cleansing the place is wajib. All 3 are wajib there, they say. You understand it? Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah says cleansing the place is wajib. Using 3 stones or using stones in odd numbers is mustahab. The main thing is cleansing of the place. So Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad, they say all 3 is wajib. They have to do all 3. And Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik says cleansing the place is wajib. But using 3 stones and using it in odd numbers is mustahab. And then Shawafi and Hanabila's dalil is the same hadith. أو أن نستنجي بأقل من 3 أحجار. Shouldn't use less than 3 stones, right? And then the other hadith is man istajmara falyutir. You understand? Whoever is making istinja, then he should make istinja in odd numbers. All right, and there are other hadiths also. Nevertheless, Ahnaf and Malikiya, they take other riwayat. Man fa'ala faqad ahsana wa man la fala haraja. Whoever did that, then he has done well. And whoever didn't do that, then there is no harm. So that shows istihbab. You understand? There's istihbab to use 3 stones and to use it in odd numbers. So what answer do we give to this hadith here? We say that this, according to our mazhab, it's also mustahab to use 3. You understand? To use 3 stones, and we say those hadiths the same. Doesn't use less than 3 stones is carried on istihbab. So then, by doing that, if you carry it on istihbab, then the ta'aruz which is between the different hadiths now will be removed, because you're saying those hadiths which are use telling you must use 3 stones istihbaban, and those hadiths which tell you no, if you did it, well and good. If you didn't do it, no problem. You understand? Doesn't go against it, right? And then, even according to Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi, he says if it's 1 stone's got 3 sides, then you can use that in place of 3 stones. So he say if you allow that, then that means you're going against that same hadith there, which says you must use 3 stones. You understand? So nevertheless, you can also make istinja with dung, because this is the food of the jinnat, or I read somewhere, the food of the animals of the jinnat, right? And then also you mustn't use bones, because this is the food of the jinnat. And then the bones, sometimes they still have some stickiness on it. You understand it? And then that will not help. It will spread the najasat instead of removing the najasat. If the bone is sticky, then instead of removing the najasat, it's going to spread the najasat, right? And the other thing is, by using the bone also, you can hurt yourself, right? Right. So then the usul here behind this whole thing is kullu shayin zahirin qali'un lin najasi ghayru muhtaramin. Every part thing which can remove the najasat, which is not something of sanctity, like food. You understand? Read.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وعن أنس رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل الخلاء يقول اللهم إني
It says that Kana Rasulullah Rasulullah, when he used to enter the toilet, he used to say Allahumma inni, oh Allah, I seek your protection from khubuth and khaba'is, right? What's khubuth and khaba'is? So when you go into the toilet, you go in with the left foot, and so before you go in the toilet, you make this dua. If you enter the toilet already, you read the dua in your mind only. Now you can't read the dua, right? And if you are you're relieving yourself in the open area, then before you remove your clothes, you make your dua. You got that? Right. Then khubuth is the jinnat, the male jinnat. You understand it? And khaba'is is the female jinnat. And the jinnat, they like to come to these places that show where there's a bit of dirt. They like to come there. Therefore, you read this dua when you go there, right?
ويعذبان ولا يعذب.
Okay, leave it till then now because this is a whole new section.